We're live. Hello. No. I should have added the link to that. What's up? We're about to go live. Oh, we got people. Who's in this here? Casey, engage. Make sure it's all on and stuff. All right. Go here. Ready? Hello, hello. Welcome to another episode. Episode 5, right? Yeah. So today, the beautiful wife has spoken. We have done up to the shoulder region. We did a lot of rib cage work. We've done 2 self therapies. We've done 2 partner therapies, which we'll continue with that routine every week for now. And we should probably check after this a sound check for the people just to make sure. But anybody, you can put in the chat if you can't hear me or anything too. But what was I going to say? Where are we at? So, okay. So we've done 2 partner therapies. We've done 2 self therapies. Sarah said that now that we've released things, everything, as it always does, is either going to drop or it's going to shift up. So in her case, it shifted up. A lot of it she's feeling, which is basically working down the throb in her arm. And we're going to show you guys how to, open up and get through. This will be a quick one. I say that every time, but this one really should be because we're going to jump right to it. We're going to show some basic stuff just to work on the arms. It's really not rocket science to work on the arms. It's really not hard to work on the arms. It's more tedious than anything because you're dealing with smaller areas, smaller muscle groups, lots of bone surrounding it. And in that case, you're just digging out like little fibers or basically just pushing over these fibers as you bring the arm into internal or external rotation. And then Sarah's going to show you some stretches for this. Last time we did it with moving the camera around and everything. What? Oh, okay. Oh, yeah. We're just going to do what did we do on the partner one before we? No, we're not doing the partner stretching. I'm just talking about we could add some of that in. We do a lot of this where we just makeshift on the fly because of that's what I do with clients and sessions. But regardless, we're going to do some stuff on the arms. I guess in reality, you can do some basic things. So we'll show you a couple stretches that I would do if I was going to finish my own kind of therapy, if I was doing it to myself, and keep the rest of it for the Sunday session. So that's what we need to accomplish today is just, let's see what we can do with the arms. And, oh yeah, you put the PowerPoint together for today. Sorry, we're gonna take this little announcement. So this has been kind of all over the place with just trying to figure it out for this first few weeks and everything. That's why I did it for ongoing and people can come back in the next 12 weeks or forever, because I didn't want this to be a thing where as we develop this and grow this and make it better and better and better, that people felt like they got to have this constant pay $200 a month or something like that. So We are going to switch it. We just paid for the Vimeo today. So we're going to switch everything over to the Vimeo. That's where we're going to host our stuff. We're trying to figure out how to do all the password stuff and everything like that. So if nothing else, we're going to have it on Vimeo. We're going to bring some new stuff. And then because Vimeo is required for our website to post videos, we're going to start using and posting more content to the website. So look forward to that, because I'm kind of unrestricted when it comes to that. So I'll put bigger videos and things like that. I'm going to redo the grounding video, the water video, and all of that. So thanks for being patient through us, like figuring out the beginning of this. I promise it's going to be something that gets even better in its format. And as we get more and more people, like we're up to like about 50 people already. Like, hallelujah, that's amazing. And we thank each one of you, because as this continues to grow, we're going to do more days. We're going to do more things. We're going to find more content to do. And when we go off grid, this was the whole purpose of doing this. So that way we can actually take this on the road with us. And we have some pretty nifty gizmos to amplify our signal wherever we are. So, yeah, that's what we're working on. Again, thank you for your patience. Now we're going to go through a little PowerPoint, show you guys what we're going to do today. All right. So Sarah put this together with. So overall, just to recap, basically, when you're going through what you do with any kind of therapy, like I do, like the partner therapy, working on people, even if you're working on yourself, pressure is key. It's not this back and forth motion. It's never to roll back and forth. It's never to treat the body in a way that is contradictory to what it experiences in everyday life. The body has constant pressure on it, and sometimes more intense pressure than others, but it doesn't have erratic pressure constantly back and forth all the time. So we shouldn't treat it that way when we do therapy. You're going to find those hard spots and you're going to hold them. When you're holding, you're doing just a grinding motion, maybe a couple inches back and forth. You're trying to press that knot into the body, no matter if you're working on yourself or somebody else. No matter what tool you're using, it doesn't matter. You're going to feel those cords of muscle. Muscles run from joint to joint. So you're going to feel stringy, like straps sometimes when they're real thick and stuck together, or you're going to feel cords like in the length of them. And you're going to push those cords into a stretch. And like kneading dough, we wouldn't go over the hump if you were kneading dough. So when you're going over the cords, you keep your grip. You're pushing them into a stretch, and without losing the grip of that cord, you're pushing it and keeping that constant pressure. Then be patient, and press hard and back off, press hard and back off, constant stimulation. You can even do some little, twitching back and forth motions, just to add some stimulation. So we'll go to the next thing. Can you move that over there? Yeah. Bottom. Put it like in the bottom. Yeah. So when you get into calcified tissue, this is the big like elephant in the room with therapy, because I taught myself, and nobody because of that ever taught me that I can't do things. So I started feeling all this radically hard, tissue, or I was going to say ridiculous, but like very severe tissues that are hard. And the harder the tissue, the longer it's been there, and the bigger the drain it's putting on the body. But we're taught, like when you go into the academia world of therapy, this is really like a thing that's taught that you can't break through it, you can't manipulate it. And that's because everybody looks at the body in a way of physicalities, like you're trying to crack free calcified tissue. Obviously, that's not going to happen. So what we're doing with constant pressure, and the way that I do, my techniques, is it's a hold, it's a constant pressure. So you're waiting for the nervous system that controls everything in the body to hit its point of stability, and then it's going to release things. So it controls the body. So why would we try and manipulate things ourselves as if we have the power to do so, when all we're really trying to do is contact and stimulate the nervous system to do something for us. And even when you do get things to happen, it wasn't you were getting the nervous system, you provoked it to do something that you wanted to do. So bone and tendon, I mean, it's the same reason that things shouldn't be hard in the body, because bone and tendon, bone connects, or I was thinking of tendon and ligament. So with bone, you have bone connected to bone with ligaments, and then you have tendon connecting bone to muscles. So those things, you're basically manipulating things around the insertion and origin points of the muscle or of the joint, that come from the muscles. And in turn of working those, you're going to get some release in the tendons, and then you're going to get a lot less pressure on the bones, of course. Calcified tissue is when you've shown such neglect that you're getting tissues to harden and basically incapacitate, remove the ability for the body to use that area, or for us to use that area. And that's where injuries are there. So yeah, we're good. Muscles of the arms, we could go through these. There's quite a bit of them. We all know our biceps, our triceps. Get in the forearms, you got all the extensors, and then on the flexors, and then the extensors. So, the muscles through here for extension and through here for flexion. You're getting into everything you can see up through there, and that beautiful shoulder cap that almost nobody's looks like. But that is the way it looks inside, so when you get that, you can see how the pec muscles and everything, how they reach across, and how everything really meets up in here. And then you can just see everything from the delt muscles and stuff that reaches over through there. So getting those to go back and sit in the middle and not be forward is going to be the biggest goal that we can go here, because that is what dictates the position of the shoulder more than anything, is everything that is right through here up into here, because the chest inserts and ends right here. Lat muscles and all the rotator cuff and everything inserts and finishes up in here. Excuse me. Go ahead. That's it. Hey, Rod. Let's get it. Okay. That thing freaked me out. I was like, what? Laying down? It's been blurry like that this whole time. Should be good. Screen clean. Sorry, guys. There we go. Must have got some fingers on it when I was. All right. Okay, so you can just visually see how this is still picked up from even before when we were doing this stuff. So the whole goal with this is you want to do a range check. Does it pick up when you go all the way down? And then when it goes back, a lot of people won't be able to reach the floor. So it's pretty much gonna, with Sarah's, we already obviously got it loose. So in your case, we hope that through doing what we did, that you would have a similar presentation of your range. Now you might have a really screwed up shoulder and not be there quite yet. So continue to work through those things. We'll continue to do more stuff. For here, we're basically going to call the arm. Actually, before I do that, so a lot of the stuff, you know, like if you're talking shoulder, the further away you get from the shoulder, the easier it is to mess it up. So if you're dealing with a spot down here in the wrist or in here right below the elbow, it's going to be a lot smaller spot to cause havoc in the shoulder than even a big spot is up here. So when you get farther away, it doesn't take very much for it to destroy the main joint that it's connected to. So we're always going to check here, and you can do that by seeing, like, does their arm, see how ours kind of hyperextends? It looks like it's pushing back up here, like it should sit like right in like that, and it's actually able to go past. And so that can be just a simple imbalance in the weakness in the biceps and the triceps. It could be just everything. In her case, is right here. She's got just the huge lump connecting the flexors and extensors of the forearm. So if you checked here, you feel a spot. This spot is like my nightmare because of my work. So you take here, take your fingers and pull, and you should feel those cords. You should start to feel them. And then you take your fingers and pull, and now you'll feel those cords. You can push this way and hold, basically pinching that line you feel, smashing it and stretching it until it releases. Then we're going to pull. And now I'm pulling up. Is there really a fly in here, right? Go for it. Knucklehead. Of course, man. Get out of here, dude. It's always Beelzebub. Pull this here, and then I'm pulling it up. So I've got my grip. I got my thumb grip here. Got my finger grip here, and I'm pulling that, but I'm also pulling it up. So pull it to you. Second pull is going to be up in a stretch. So you're stretching it up from the elbow. We're pulling it away and out of the elbow. Now here I can feel on this back side where I can take and push it in, okay? Grab this, you're going to feel a tube. If you start working in here, on the inside, you're going to feel a tube right there. So in that tube, it's going to feel like a small garden hose. You can kind of grab it and you can pinch it right against the bone here. Or you can take it and so pinching it into the bone, or you can take it and pull it away and towards the forearm and then towards the elbow. So it's different for everybody. I mean, a lot of people are a certain way and a lot of people are the other way. So I'm just going to take it and just basically pushing it, feeling any cord that I feel. You can take and extend this. You can do this on yourself too. I'm going to show you when we do the self-therapy on Sunday. Here I'm pulling it. So I'm taking this, basically pulling, and I'm pulling it out like that. So pulling, rotation. And you're just taking these cords and you're pulling them whatever way you feel like you can get them to push into a stretch. Push or pull. Feel that cord pull, and then once you feel that cord like stand out more than everything around it, you're pushing into it and releasing it, smashing it down. So let's see here. The check for her was, see how much less the shoulder is? It's starting to rotate just a little bit smoother. And when I go all the way down, it's a little bit less. Not saying that we made all the difference in the world there, but the forearm does make a significant difference. Now I'm going to release this top part right here. I'm just going to get this right above the elbow, pushing it in and out, away from the bone, pull it into the bone, push it away from the bone. All the while I'm holding it and not allowing my fingers to slip up over it. Okay. So you take your elbow, you can feel on both sides. On the outside of it here, you're gonna feel some cords. On the inside here, you're gonna feel some cords. So you feel the ball in the middle, get on the inside of it and pull the cords away from it. I'm all over the place. I'm looking at the TV, I'm looking at here. So I gotta remember which way I'm looking. And then I'm like I gotta get maybe like a couple microphones up that are on our shirts. Maybe that'll be better. Nah, because then I'm gonna block you. I think. Maybe. So again, inside, these aren't the most comfortable. Just you're going to feel it like you're taking this whole line of muscle right here and we're peeling it away. So we're trying to get in between here and peel this away. You can see, like, I'll show you, like I'm more or less hooking that and pulling it.
Since I broke this elbow, do you feel calcified scar tissue in there? Even though you've been working on it for years.
10 years ago, maybe. But we definitely, even before I knew what I was doing the way that I do now, we definitely resolved most of Sarah's issues. I think a lot of it is just persistent neurological issues now for her, the retraining aspect of it. I mean, it took us like borderline 9 years to get her a butt from all of the dancing stuff, tucking in. And it really is just a matter of what you've repeated the most in your life. So, I mean, yeah, like if you're having an injury like she had, her elbow used to be just ridiculously bound with hardcore, literally hardcore tissue.
It was right in there.
Yeah, right in there. So when you feel the ball in the elbow, I just grab on that ball and pull it one way. And that just released a little bit. Let's do a little check. Yeah. It's like right, it's all the way to the bottom. Now it almost sits by itself if you look. And then when I push it, it comes up. Okay. A little bit of the cannabis sleepy muscle potion. All right. Pull it down. So this is the way that our body doesn't want to go. So we're just going to take it and see how many faces we can make her make. So I'm just gently pushing on it. It will have some sensitive stuff. That's why she's going to make like the faces. Sarah normally takes her pain pretty well, but it's like the sharp areas that come on quick that make her make the faces. So when you get here, I'm bouncing on this. So just kind of pump it. And then I'm locking this in and you're feeling the line right here. So in feeling this line right here, I got to keep it up like this and then bounce this down and kind of push the two against each other. And then I'm going to walk this down the arm into a stretch. And this little bounce here is just making those cells open and close, open and close, open and close. Well, contract and relax, contract and relax. Let's go up by the shoulder here. You're going to feel like right in between the breast line here and the shoulder. And we're going to push this up away, basically stretching this joint open away from her. So I'm hooked on the front delt here. I'm dragging my hand, but if you notice, I'm spinning it in a circle. So a lot of times when I get on knots, I use this rotation because see, the tissue goes up through like this. So I'm taking and sweeping this out, lifting it, getting up under it, getting that connective fascia, everything that goes right between here and the pec line and then the front delt line and everything we just saw in that picture. Remember, just imagine that sheath here. We're trying to lift up under it, get all those connective tissues and everything that runs through here and the pec and everything like that. So we can lift all those out, get them, separated and working independently, and then get the shoulder to stop shoving itself up in her neck. So now we'll go back in the back. So pull back a little bit, babe. Just drop that down. So if you can, I basically just had her pull her arm back down. So you can either push her arm down or you can pull it back down, whichever way. A lot of times it's cool when you start getting the client to get engaged in these things because you can get the muscles and stuff in their body to go a lot quicker.
How can you tell when you're pushing too hard or when something is that you need to back off on your pressure?
Good question. So, I mean, a lot of times people will go and they're like, I'm sorry. And in most cases, I'm like, yeah, it's all in your head because I'm not feeling your body kick back. I'm just seeing you move and stuff. So if if you feel it squeeze under your hand and push back or it twitches and spasms, you're pressing too hard. You should feel, that's why I say press and relax, because when you press on this and relax, bouncing back and forth, you can feel if it's getting softer and actually moving, or is it just sitting there the whole time? And that gives you a real good gauge of, you see how it's still picking up, but I'm feeling a lot less here and more right here. So you can take your fingers, if you've got a strong enough grip to do this, just grab, and I'm basically grabbing here up under and pulling this towards us, okay? And if you can't do this, like I'm going to do right now, I'll show you in a second how to do it. So I like to push this one back. So I'm hooked in my fingers here, and then I'm pushing it back, and it's basically doing the stretch and pressure for me. And it takes some finger strength. Don't get me wrong. You guys are probably going to do some of this stuff and be like, what the heck? There's no way I can do that. But I'm telling you what to do so you can learn how to do it over time. Once you start doing all this stuff on your body all over, then you're going to start noticing that it's easier to do it all over. And these techniques will become increasingly easier. That just got a lot lighter. I have to work on my legs with these new 1950s shorts.
You have nice legs.
Yeah, I'm going to go into like an old school basketball movie. All right, so that's really, really floppy. Okay. See, it's getting better and better. Now it's like more just right up in here. I'm terrible at putting my hand in the camera and seeing where it goes. So right up in here, I can feel, this is more shoulder stuff, but we'll do a little bit of it here. So if you feel some of this hard stuff here in the shoulder, feel the AC joint and everything just rose, risen up, then grab it, pull this arm down and just grab this into a stretch. Just pull it, relax. There you go. She controls. So push this down into the mat. You can get up here if you need to. I'm trying to I'm strong enough to do it just because I've done it for so long, but it's not the most comfortable this way. But this way does help you to pull down, and this way will help you if you want to get up on it more. And I'm basically just feeling a large strap right here in the front delt. And I'm trying to push that down into the arm. Because what's happening is the arm's getting shortened, and when it gets shortened, it gets sucked up into the shoulder. So your shoulder goes like this. That's what's happening. You lengthen it out, and then, oh, wow, I got this nice length to my shoulder, and my arm doesn't shoot up in my neck. You see that? Look at that. It's like it falls by itself, first of all. See? Hear the sound? We have ground contact. So that's the first thing you want to go. Does it touch? Now I went a little higher. It's right there. So, and it's not, it's picking up in a uniform way. So now I'm going to push this back up. So I was keeping pressure, and then I'm basically just bouncing on it. Whatever I feel, those cords, I feel them. I get that palm hooked right on it and just smash into it. Back off, and another piece just moved up and over. But you're just going over those cords until you don't feel them anymore. And some things are going to slip out from under your hand constantly, like mine is right now, where it's trying to release, but it can't. So that just did it now, and I'm going to get this bicep brachii and push it up. This little triangle dude. Another release right there we got. Got another cord releasing right now. And more we're going to get. Yeah, there we go. So notice what I was talking about before. If you see it, like it's getting to where it's not so hyperextended. Now I got to get rid of this, but her arm, it's getting to where it's sitting more like this instead of that whole long. It's sitting out pretty nicely like this now. I'm not even having her hold like that, but it was almost hyperextending now, like this. I have to go out now with it. So I'm going to hold this, take this spot, and push it towards the inside here. Something's on my ear. The long hairs. Gotta cut my hair again. So just pushing this out, and then we'll see if I can get this arm to go straight all the way through. This is a great way to fix, tennis elbow, golfer's elbow. Just do it on one side or the other. It's basically no different. It's moving, so now I'm just going to give it a little bounce. That's a lot better. Movement is hydration, so let's lube it up. Super flimsy there, like nothing to it. Flops real good. Relax your hand. Don't hold it up. Yeah, so we're good. See that? It's not, it looks a lot different here. This looks longer. The actual head of the delts and stuff are finishing further down, her arm doesn't look so jammed up. And that's where you get like that, you know, sausage look to the arm. So many women will come in and be like, oh, it just looks like one big like Lincoln log. It doesn't have any separation. And it's like, that's what it reminds me. Like Lincoln logs are like just thin and like hard in the middle and have big bumps on either side, sometimes in the middle. So if it looks like that, it's because you have major shortening and compression in the muscles, and it's all pulling. Joint to joint is coming together. Joint to joint is coming together. That's what's happening here. So you need to take them and push them out, push them off, and push them in.
I think the arms are one of the easiest to work on because it's so small here that you can feel everything. I think that's where we started when we started working on, you started working, I started foam rolling here, and then you would almost immediately see a difference because of how small they are.
Yep.
So I think the arms is a great way to experiment with yourself or with friends or family, and you know, just gaining that confidence to feel those muscles in there.
So now you see, like, it just sits there. It's got the dip here. It's not hyperextending. I can't even make it hyperextend now. Look at Precious.
Oh my gosh.
So guest star. She's clapping. She thinks, I guess I'm doing a good job. So you can see it doesn't hyperextend here. And why is that? Well, you had an inconsistency and a discrepancy between the weakness and dominance of the tricep, bicep, extensors, and flexors. So changing that and creating the proper length to tension ratio between the joints allows the range to go smooth and consistent where it should be. Same thing as when you pick your knee up and drop it back down. Many of you right now will feel it clunk. And the hip is a ball. So when it's in a ball, it's supposed to start and finish at a certain spot. And when it doesn't, what you're feeling when you're cocked into an anterior or posterior tilt is that ball, when it clunk, is actually trying to finish and start over, but it's in the wrong place. So it's starting over in a spot that it shouldn't. That's where you get the clunk, is it just forcing itself to skip over. So you can see there why, I mean, you can still see it, but look at even this doesn't look like it's protruding nearly as much. Okay. Now I'm gonna show you a different way to get at the spot that I was telling you, which is really the same thing I did in the shoulders. So, yeah. Press is gone. Let's go. Okay. See if I can use the vibration. All right, perfect. So let's see it. Boom. You're just going to reach your hand under. You can either lay down. This is why I use the mat. So this is why I use the mat, because you know you can get way more leverage than a table. And tables destroy your own body to fix others. So you can see I can raise it up. You can grab in here like so. And all you're doing is finding the hard spots to release. I already did this with the shoulders, but this is really what needs to be finessed right now. So if you're doing the arms, I do want to show you this connecting piece here, because you're going to feel spots here and they need to be pulled in this way, like this. And then you're going to feel spots that need to come up into the tricep. And what you're doing here is lengthening these things so that way what? The shoulder will come out of the neck. So here I'm pulling in and up. Now, again, you don't always need to be in that position. And a lot of times you'll find that in a different position, it's better. Like here, I can use my leg. See, I got the arm on the leg. It's giving me a little bit more pressure to pull against. And I can get this up into the neck a lot easier. Not released. See? Full flop. It picks up a little bit, but I'm actually touching. Hear it? It's actually touching the mat, except for like right here at the top, which this is just more working this. I don't want to waste a bunch of time showing you guys like, here, we can work the rear delt for 30 minutes. So, I mean, you're going to be getting into this area here and feeling all of the bump, guys, okay? The rear delt
and everything that's running under it and everything can feel like a half baseball in there. You need to keep pulling fiber after fiber after fiber after fiber until you get more of this. And then keep pinching here and pulling it up and just finding different things that you can sweep through here. I should do this hand so you can see it like this. And there's another one like up in here, and pull it. You just keep taking things down the arm. Keep pinching here, finding things here, pull them up, but always pull down the arm. Remember, it's always a stretch or it's not anything, you know? Some knots need to go straight in, but there's still an angle and a pressure that will give them the biggest release, the fastest release, and the least painful. Here, she's got a nice spot in her bicep. So take her arm, pull that ball you feel in the bicep, and smash her arm down on it. And then squeeze and relax, so that way she's not miserable. Walk it down or walk it up. I'm walking it up the arm right now. Now I'm gonna walk it down, same thing, find it in here. Pinch, close it up. You're just using the arm to flex for you. You're creating a little bit more neurological response. You're pulling it into a stretch for you. You're also putting some pressure. A lot of people have very massive arms, whether they're carrying weight or whether they carry a crazy amount of muscle. So sometimes I'll full on be smashing my hand doing this and just using my fingers up in here to release the forearm and to release this just by sticking my hand in here. I could smash like some of these huge bodybuilders and just pressure and hold this down. In most cases, I'd be up on my knees. And just my hand being in here as a tool, this will smash over and release. It's the same thing as when I tell people, stick your elbow, pull here, push your knee, and pull your arm like so. And you can release a lot of the stuff out of right here and make a lot of the same things that I'm doing here. My famous words in the section. Back, forward, okay? If you get this, I don't care that little bit where it picks up. Oops, sorry, baby. You know, she's still got some right here. Like I said, you would just keep working it and keep pulling this down. And I've already got a ton better, and we've only been doing this for what, half an hour or so like this of actually cranking on you. So, you know, you just keep doing it. And that's why I'm showing you guys, so you guys can do this with your friends and your family and stuff over time and not feel like you need to just crush it and go through it and, you know, or have to go see a body worker for $400 or something like that, you know, even better. So now you can see it's just right here that it wants to pick up. So continue working this, guys. You can put your arm at your side with the foam roller, hit right here, lean on it and smash that all the way down. You can see her pec on this side, and everything in the breast tissue is fuller than this side. So for ladies, if you're trying to anti-age your boobs and your chest tissue, keep the pecs open, keep the shoulders open, keep this backing down. And if this is backing down, then your chest is always going to be up and around. Backing down equals up and around. So, and if it's not, you know, if it's forward and in, then your boobs are going to be flat and fall. Mm-hmm. So I've got 70-year-old women, 75-year-old women, and I mean, the breast tissue up top still looks wrinkled because they're old, don't get me wrong, you know, but their chest is up and perfectly circular, okay? Which means what? That old lady is not going to have to deal with the round hunchback, you know, posterior tilt, you know, heavy kyphosis that most older women deal with, you know? And nowadays, it's even some of the men walking around taking care of their older wives, which is a trip because it used to be quite the contrary. So you go down in Laughlin, you see that like crazy. You see just so many older guys who are just look 20 years younger in their function than their wives, which is bizarre nowadays. So I'm going to do a little bit on here just so you guys can watch. Sarah, go ahead, just slide over to the middle.
You doing a gun? No, just asking.
Good idea. Let me just show you the basics of when you gun, you want to push or you want to turn it on its side and go and let these cords, you know, those same cords I was talking about, you want to get in between them, but you can use the gun to go side to side and you can push these.
All right, so I'm effectively just pushing it, getting in between those cords, or driving it up or down from the joint. This is really all I would do for maybe a little bit longer because of the fact that it's just meant to facilitate things and get them flowing, get all the muscles working together more in harmony, and allows you to reduce the tension. So let's do a quick check on here. This one's already pretty good. That's why I knew, like with our other arm, it was going to be the one. So back and here, okay? And let's just see how quickly I can mirror this up. Put on some like cool, like cut to the music. Well, maybe in the future we can get like an editor or somebody who comes through and just takes all of our old content and puts it into like true formatted versions, cut all the in-between stuff and stuff like that. That's definitely one thing that I want to work towards. I would do it, but editing is quite a nightmare. Let me let you in, Kathy B. Still don't understand why face is doing what. Just grabbing it, I'm taking this one, pushing it back towards the bone. Released a bunch of the cords. I'm doing this like Cliff Note status. I can release stuff way faster than I do in the videos for you guys. So once you know how to do it and hold it, and you know how to trap the tissue from being able to get out from under your fingers, you can release stuff really quick. And that's why I do 4-hour sessions. So I can go through and just quickly release everything through the body and get most of the calcified anchors out. Look at her face. Flop, flop. Boom, even better already. That forearms, man, on her are nasty. Just tight and bound up. But lots of breastfeeding, holding Joshua. And she, Sarah worked and did this type of work and stretching people up until her last week of pregnancy. So, and she was 2.5 weeks late and, a shredded 8-pound, 3-ounce kid. So on a 5-foot tall girl. She kicked butt the whole time. So we're just rotating this in, finding those cords. This is like Rice Krispies in here. Wow. Disappointed in you, babe.
Hey.
This is uncalled for.
Well, I knew this was coming, so I don't.
Yeah.
Just wait for
Just kidding.
you can work.
It's my fault. I should have fixed her. Happy wife, happy life. Loose shoulders, loose back. And the wife is always really happy. And once we broke through the Fort Knox type tension in her dancer pelvis, then everything started to change in her body. Oh, look, it's a lot better. Okay, hit it up here. Yes, this is how I get down with clients. I sit and talk and hold my breath the whole day, working on them and doing everything I advocate against. I couldn't do this work if I was on a table. I'm sorry. It's just impossible. Somebody can do it, but it's just, this is why body workers break after 20 years. Can't hide my face because I'm in pain. Oh, here comes the consoler. Watch. Here she comes. She knows the pain is here. See? This is Precious's. Oh, she's just out of the camera. Good girl. Or maybe she's not. Here she is. Are you okay, mommy? Mm-hmm. Precious, when I used to work on a Pilates reformer, I'd walk out to the bathroom and I'd walk back in and she'd be sitting on my client's back and they'd be like face down. And they're like, no, it feels so comforting.
She still to this day comes in and hangs out with clients just like this.
Yeah, they're all come and be like, no, tell them to come in. And Rosie's the grouch, but she's been coming over. Rosie always comes only when people are really hurting. Then she walks up and she's like, licks their hand like, you okay? What's wrong? What's wrong with you? Knock it off. Breathe. Come on. Rosie's the best client. She lets me just whip her. She don't even care. I love it. Yeah, she does. Certain clients will let you just go to town and just do
You know, no, she falls asleep from stuff that would cause like adults to convulse, you know. And Rosie's so good. Initially, she's like, within a couple seconds, man, she just lets me do like crazy pressure for a little dog, and 7, 10.
Little do one on dogs.
Yeah.
For sure.
There you go, guys. It doesn't take much to take what they say can't be fixed or that what you're stuck with for life and just absolutely annihilate it right in its tracks. It just takes pressure and patience. And then knowing with your brain that you have to constantly focus on exactly what you're feeling or you'll lose it and you'll just be putting pressure. You won't be putting a positive release.
To think of all the years of pressure and work or exercise, whatever we do to our bodies, all the years that it takes for it to end up that way. It's not going to happen overnight or in one session, but each session is a step closer to freedom of the body.
All right, let's finish up here. Ooh, don't knock it over, Precious. All right, cool. So, does anybody have any questions? I know Kathy just joined, but no questions? Anybody? No?
Okay, so I broke my arm, just like her, dislocated it, and I'm pretty sure I have a bunch of like calcified tissue, and so like I'm guessing on Sunday you're gonna go over on like how I could help break that, right?
Yeah, I mean, Sunday's going to be the self-therapy, so we'll be able to go. I'm going to show you just different ways. I mean, I walk up to the wall and just drive the corner of the wall into like different lines in my shoulder, and it releases
Yeah.
stuff for the most part. I mean, I'll have stuff where I can't even like raise my arm. It's so stiff in the morning, and I immediately get like twitches. Like yesterday, I was sitting there like on my phone, and then in the morning I was like reading the word before I started stuff, and like my shoulder was just like do 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 do. It was so annoying, just crazy. But then I'll
Yeah.
go through and just decompress that area and just with pressure against the wall or leaning and hitting the corner in your shoulder blade or up in the pec, and just those
Mm-hmm.
3 spots in 5 minutes, it can take so much of it away. But yeah, we got to get, stuff that I'm going to talk about getting up into here, up in the armpit region.
Mm-hmm.
You basically got to take and just look at your body and see what area is shortened up into the other, because it's not rocket science. You have muscles that are connected to 2 joints. If you let the muscles get too tight, they'll pull the joints together. And when you look at yourself, you'll start to notice these squatty positions that certain muscle groups are in. And like
Mm-hmm.
that's what you notice with most of my before and afters is mute him while I talk to him, is the lengthening. Like when people have the abdomen get a lot better, it's because I drop the rib cage in and everything can sit on top of it. But it's also because, like an accordion, I'm opening it up. So of course, if you stretch somebody out 2 inches inside their abdomen, it's going to give a whole lot of space for things to fall into. And I mean, I have people who come in like this kid they gave him a whole bunch of HGH from 3 to 11, totally screwed him up. So he was like really short for his age and stuff. And his mom asked me if I could get him taller. And basically in a month, I got him 3/4 of an inch taller. No joke. It was crazy measuring him. And I'm like, dang, this is really working. But on most people, I mean, I've had guys who were 6'10" and they were 6'5" when I met them. And then after doing like three months worth of work, they were 6'9.5" again. So, and my mom, like getting her up to like right at the 5 foot mark again, and you can feel it. So that's what it's really all about. It doesn't matter if you feel something that's hard, it shouldn't be hard. If you look in the mirror and you can see an area where 2 joints connect and you see it looks like they're shoved up into it. It's really common when you look at the back of people's knees. You can even see mine, like my calf looks like it's inside of the back of my knee instead of being like down here where it should start. So you look at it, and like basketball guys, they would say so much things about like, like I would crack up when they would say things about certain basketball players and how black guys have different genetics in the calf and stuff. And some of that stuff, and they'd say it, I'm like, wow, they really just have a major anterior tilt, and they're trying to like describe this as like a genetic anomaly. And honestly, there's just certain genetic traits with athletes who can do better and stuff. Like I do believe that like anatomically, there's different genetic things that we've had over thousands of years that can cause a muscle to contract better. But in some cases, you see this stuff like in the powerlifting world where they try and tell you that their femur is too long, and I'm like, wow, like it doesn't make sense. So many things don't make sense. But when you look at it, it's because when you go into these fixes, you know, like all of my friends back in the day, a lot of them now, like we were big hoopers. I mean, I was surrounded by just constant, like crazy. That's why that stuff that I was just talking about is such a joke to me, because I've seen it fixed in front of them. And I'm like, no, that doesn't look like that. I've fixed professional basketball players' calves and watched them drop into place and basically made null and void that statement about it and just showing it. I mean, in a way, it's actually taking away from the player and how good they just are. You know what I mean? But who? Oh, Kathy, go ahead. Sorry, my camera's kind of in front of your face, Kathy. So go ahead. Oh, you should.
I'm good. I was just going to check in on what's anything new because I got here late. Sorry, I got off work and took me long to get home. Anything new on the videos and stuff yet?
Yeah. So we just paid for the Vimeo today. So Sarah's uploading it to Vimeo. Vimeo integrates with our website, so we're going to do some more content with that. I announced that at the beginning of this video,
Okay.
and then we're going to figure out a way. I hope, because you know the Vimeo was like a big platform that was supposed to do all this stuff and have the proper security and everything. So we're hoping that the next session on Sunday we're streaming from there. We hope that this is the complete fix and finish of all of this, and then yeah. So, okay. So Sarah says everybody should be getting email tomorrow. So look for that. And then hopefully, you know, it looks solid. I mean, this is a big platform going on Vimeo, so we shouldn't have any issues with the stuff. I'm going to start running some more things to get more people in here too. And I'm going to start doing more stuff to where we can do like giveaways and different things like that when we go throughout here, because I have a lot of people, obviously, that I'm connected to in the industry that just, I know from therapy world that they like to get their products out, like Roll Into Fitness. He'll probably start doing what I did before. And he used to give me 2 rollers every live video for his. So I'm going to talk to him about doing that to where each time I do one of these, we can constantly be having like these rollers and stuff, because I know some people straight up could only afford to get into this, or some people just aren't going to be able to get it. So I want to have like different tools that we present, but also like be able to give it to you guys, just have some other cool stuff. And then hopefully I can get this up to where I'm thinking about doing a 3rd day and just setting it up where I do a 3rd day where I go back over just a random subject, like a 30-minute one, just to jump on and pick something that people are asking for. Anybody else? Good. All right. So Sunday, we're going to do 9 a.m. We're going to do the self-therapy version of this, foam rolling. I'm going to show you how to do some basic gunning, just how to unlock the halo. Guess I should do it where you can see me, right? Unlock the halo around the shoulder and get that to decompress so it's not basically like up in our neck. You'll notice in these things when you look at people now why their quads are dominant and why they're so pulled up. And you see them in the side view when I show you how I move their hands, and you can actually see between their hands and their leg now is because of how much I got their leg to come back and how long we got the quad muscle and hamstring muscles. Or actually we shorten the hamstring muscles, because in an anterior tilt, the hamstring muscles are actually too long. That's why you should never stretch your hamstring muscles. They're already too long. So you want to foam roll and decompress the hamstrings and then open up the quads, drop them out, and then everything sits back. So more and more as we go through this, especially when I go into the next 12 weeks and stuff too, for a lot of you guys who are here now, we're going to be doing and throwing in. I think that's why I want that 3rd day, because I want it to be more advanced techniques.
Question.
Go ahead.
That's interesting because I feel like my hamstrings are shorter, and you're saying most people's are longer. I dance a lot.
If you have anterior pelvic tilt, the knee doesn't go anywhere. So it has, like, if your pelvis is anterior, the knee is not going to go anywhere. It's impossible. So it's going to pull that tissue too long. So it's why when you put your leg into a bent leg position and then foam roll the hamstring, you'll get way more of an effect than you will because if that was the case, what you were saying, this is what you're saying is what I believe my whole life, because that's the whole thing of when women come to me and they go, but I feel this is a squat. And I'm like, dude, that's not a squat. Like, until you tuck your butt up under you and put your weight over it like this, it's not a squat. You're not firing those glutes the way you think you are. And you're feeling a pull because instead of being upright, being here, when people squat like this, you're changing the entire angle of everything. I totally just lost my train of thought when I was saying that. I haven't done that once yet. But anyways, people feel the pull here because they're bending. They're not feeling an actual contraction where the muscles coming together. So it's a relative feeling of familiarity where people are like, oh, I feel it, so it's a squat. No, it's not. And that was the big revelation that came to me. It was like, oh, torque levers, they have to be lined up or else you're not truly firing them. So, my whole life I thought, oh man, my hamstrings feel like hell, so they must be, too tight. But in fact, when you understand the anterior pelvic tilt, the pelvis is up here, the knee is still down here. And so in between has to get too long. And the way that it really clicked in my head is when I started rolling on a seat like this, and my brain goes, yeah, why does this work if it's too long? If it's too short? Like if my muscle is too tight, then why did shortening it and contracting it right here, why did that help me foam roll it? You know what I mean? Because bringing the tissues back together and then hitting the spots, the body is actually in a comfortable place because that's the necessity that it needs. If you're like this and you hit that, that's why it just bruises tissue and doesn't really release people. They can't release their hamstring, and why an average foam roller won't work. But if you take an average foam roller and sit on it on a chair or a bench like this, it'll release your hamstrings, even if it's not the strongest or hardest one. So just the second you start playing around with that and you realize like you can actually release somebody's hamstring. I almost always have their leg like this. I always have it bent at a 90. And the reason, like, you think in your head, like, dang, everything that I do to release the hamstring in the most effective way comes with the muscle contracted. So that shows you, but it just makes sense. The butt's up, the knee's still in the same spot, and therefore the hamstring in between it. This is where quad dominance comes, because this is up and this is pulled straight, but it pushes the hamstring through the leg. So our nice ball of the hamstring becomes a flat hamstring, and our quad becomes this massive mountain. So I hope that answers your question. Anybody else? Nah? Cool. So come on Sunday, we'll go through that. I'll basically show you how to do the arms. The arms in the I could have done that's what I was possibly going to do, but the feet I really want to focus on just by itself, because the top and the bottom are almost two different things. Same with the hands. We'll include that in that session when we do the hands and the feet. But when you get into the arms, it's one of the most ignored things, and it is like a huge factor in getting your shoulders to be fully fixed. You can make your arm go like this and you can make it go straight and everything like that, and your arm can still be really, really dead. I've had people, like, you'll notice you'll foam roll your whole shoulder, and a lot of times you'll raise your arm and this feels lighter, but your arm still feels like 1,000 pounds. It feels like you got a sandbag on the end of your arm or your shoulder. So that's going to be the difference. We'll go over that and I'll show you how to like really dig it out with a roller. This is where it comes into, I'm probably going to go buy one just to having a soft and a hard roller is really key for doing the arms. But you can do them with both. It's just going to take a little bit longer to do it with just an all hard one, because you're going to be more like leaning on it and relaxing if it's really tender, and it might take you longer just to get into where you can really put the pressure. But if you have a softer one, you can do the outer fascial layers. You can break up the dermis wall. You can get that all hydrated and pliable, and then the sensories will calm down, and then you can go in with the hard one and break it up. Because when you're doing the tricep and bicep and the forearms, you see what I was doing with hers. I'm basically just grabbing knots and balls and smashing them and pushing them until like a blister, until they just push and pop. And that's more or less what you're doing. So I can't even think of another reference for that. I'm not going to say like a pimple. That's just bad, But so basically we take the roller and we're just going to be pushing the lines into a stretch, and it can be really uncomfortable. So, but all right, guys. Have a great night.
Josh, real quick, is there a specific size roller that we're going to be working with that's best for the arms? A shorter one or the longer one fine, or
I don't like 12-inch rollers ever. 24-inch rollers is the smallest I ever use. 36-inch rollers. I think if you have a house, you're not like bouncing around traveling like me. I think 36-inch rollers are always the way to go because you can do so much more than them. And when you're on a 2-foot roller, the dang thing wants to pick up on the end all the time. Like you'll go to lean in leverage and it's like lifting, you're about to fall over. It's just the same thing as the rumble roller. You know, it's good for massage and getting initial things going, but like you'll be on those little spikes and you're about to come off and you're just like, come on, really? It's like, I was just about to release that. And then now it's like, boop, and off. So,
Okay,
but
good to know.
all right, we'll see you on Sunday. Take care, guys.
Thank you.